Hey, what is up guys, it's Brendan here, and today we're going to be going over the 9 best open source and free e-commerce platforms. So maybe you want something a little bit cheaper, maybe you're on a budget, you want to look for an e-commerce website where you can build an online store for much cheaper than maybe alternatives such as Shopify or BigCommerce. That's what we're going to be diving into today's video with free and open source e-commerce options. So the first option we're going to be taking a look at here is WooCommerce. Now, if you've been on the channel for a minute, you know that I always recommend WooCommerce because they really are a really good option for those of you looking for something that's free and especially open source as well. So getting started with WooCommerce is pretty simple. All you need to make sure that you have is WordPress hosting. So as far as WooCommerce goes, they're an open source e-commerce platform, like I said, built on WordPress. So you do need WordPress hosting in order to utilize WooCommerce, but it's as easy as just installing the WooCommerce plugin with WordPress hosting. What WordPress hosting could you use? In my opinion, Bluehost is a pretty good option. Link down below in the description box as well if you want to get signed up with Bluehost to get started with WooCommerce and WordPress, then they're an excellent option there as well. All you need is the WordPress hosting, and then you just install the WooCommerce plugin from WordPress.org. You install it right into your WordPress hosting account, and you can get set up easily that way. Now, one of the big benefits with WooCommerce as well is that beyond the fact that it's free to actually use once you have your WordPress hosting, is that it's really one of the most popular platforms as well. So you have a lot of full documentation on the internet. You get tons of different plugins, themes, and a lot of different options that you can install for free because of the fact that it's open source, which is one of the big benefits of utilizing an e-commerce platform like that, and such as similar to many of the other options we're going to be going over in today's video. Now, some of the other options in today's video are not open source. Some of them are not open source, but they do have a free option, which is why I'm including them in this video. So you have multiple different free options to take a look at, whether it may be just a more basic version of what they can offer you. Those are just to show you different options that you have within the free and open source realm. So with WooCommerce, really is one of the most popular, and when you go with something more popular, there's just a lot more content out there to help you figure out how to get it set up, different tutorials, and just a lot of people utilize this platform, and that's why it's at the #1 spot in today's video. So moving along into the second option, we have Square. Now, if you've been looking at brick and mortar, maybe you're in a brick and mortar business, you want to get set up with an e-commerce store or a website, Square is really the best for that situation. If you already are selling physical products, say in a brick and mortar store, maybe you're already even using Square because Square has their point of sale systems, and they are really one of the most popular for point of sale systems, right up there even with Shopify. I'd say Square and Shopify are up there as far as the point of sale systems and selling brick and mortar with pop-up shops, or maybe you own a small business. Square is really a good option there because everything integrates right within the Square platform, and you can set up a free e-commerce website with them 100% free. So you don't even have to have any of the hosting side of things. They take care of that for you because they charge you their fees based on what their pricing is. So when you accept payments through them, then they make a small fee that way as well. So they want you to utilize their point of sale systems, of course. And so you can get set up with Square. Obviously, you have to check into that yourself, sign up an account, but really, it's a pretty solid option, and it's really one of the best options right up there with WooCommerce. WooCommerce is probably better if maybe you're more just focused on a website, but if you really are focused on both e-commerce, brick and mortar, then I would definitely go with Square because they're a little bit more flexible in that regard and a little bit easier to get set up, especially for someone who's maybe a beginner, not super tech savvy. Then I would say out of those different options, if you're looking at the free options, Square is probably the best bet for you. If maybe your small business, you're not as tech savvy, then definitely Square is probably the right option for you in that situation. As you can see, you're already familiar maybe with the point of sale systems, and everything can get integrated that way. So you don't have to worry about setting up multiple different accounts or systems. Everything is just in one setup. So really Square is the best option for people that want to sell and sync their inventory maybe with social media or start selling online. Really, Square is one of the best, especially as a low cost option compared to maybe some other e-commerce platforms that are out there. I would definitely recommend Square and the Square e-commerce platform where you can, set up an online store with them. Definitely would recommend Square. So you can start a free online store, as you could see. And I like the designs, pretty nice. See, launch for no monthly fee. You just pay when you make a sale. And that's pretty standard across really any e-commerce platform you have with the payment gateways and how they charge their fees that way. So typical industry standard as far as what you pay per sale. So you don't have any monthly fees associated with that. You can start selling online and get set up. They have a nice little drag and drop setup. So yeah, definitely recommend Square, especially for restaurants or anyone brick and mortar. Definitely go the route of Square. So moving into the next one, at number 3, we have Ecwid. So Ecwid is a little bit newer to the game, and they are an excellent option for those of you who are maybe just on social media. You want to start selling some products, but you don't want to set up all the necessity of a whole online store. Maybe you just want some of the basic options to be able to sell on social media, manage your products from more of a behind the scenes factor where you can still at least sell online, and it's for free, of course. So Ecwid, good option in that scenario that I just described, and you can set up a free online store to be able to sell your products. As you can see, you could sell through Facebook, Instagram, Amazon, and sync your products that way. Really good for in-person people, or maybe you just want to sell. Like I said, you can sync it up to social media and be able to manage your inventory, manage sales, accept payments, all of those factors within Ecwid. Ecwid is kind of like an add-on that you can use now. Depending on how you have things set up, you might need to use some code, but if you're just using the basic functionality, you don't even have to worry about any of that. You can get started and actually manage your products and be able to start selling with your store. So everything, like I said, you can manage your inventory, the order management, pricing, and all of that all within the Ecwid dashboard. And it's just very simple for someone who just has some products that they want to start selling. You don't necessarily want to go crazy on setting up the whole storefront side of things. You can at least just start selling products online. You don't necessarily need the entire online store factor. And they also have support and apps, and you can manage everything with their mobile app, as you could see. Lots of these different companies as well that I'm mentioning in today's video, either open source or free. A lot of them do have a nice app functionality that you can manage your online store as well. So moving into the next option after Ecwid, we have Magento. Now Magento has recently they're transitioning into now Adobe Commerce. So they are owned by Adobe, which their entire Adobe software suite is really targeted towards that more enterprise level solution. So if you're a larger scale business and you're looking to grow your e-commerce division, maybe you already have some web development people on your staff, then Adobe is really that target market for people in that scenario. If you want an open source, very flexible platform, it is free, but in order to get it exactly how you want it, it's going to take a bit more development than any of the other options mentioned in this video. The other options are targeted a lot towards beginners or a little bit more beginner friendly. This is really that enterprise solution. If you're looking for open source and enterprise level, then Magento is an excellent option. There are a lot of large-scale businesses do use Magento and the Adobe Commerce full suite of software within Adobe and all the things that Adobe has to offer there within Magento. Magento has been around for a long time, so there are a lot of tutorials and content out there as far as how to use Magento, but it is a bit more technical than some of the other options mentioned. So if you're B2B, B2C, then you could use Magento and get started with an e-commerce solution like them. But as far as it's a little bit less beginner friendly, that's why it's not at the top of this video, but it is a good enterprise solution for people who want things a bit more extensive, maybe some more extensions, maybe a bit more custom coding options, more flexibility, then in that scenario, then Magento could be good for you. But for most average beginners, probably might want to look elsewhere. But I had to include it because Magento is really an excellent platform for people who want those advanced options available, especially because they're in the Adobe Commerce and the Adobe Suite now. And Magento's been around for a while. So moving into the next one, we have Wix Ecommerce. Now, Wix Ecommerce is not open source, but they do have a free e-commerce option, at least to get set up with your website. Now, if you want to actually have all of the full functionality of e-commerce, you do have to use one of their paid plans. That's why it's later in this list, because it's a little bit more limited as far as what you can actually do with their free plan. So if you're looking for more free e-commerce, then you might want to look at the other options I mentioned at the top of this video. But if you do want something that you have the flexibility to be able to upgrade to something that really does compete with a Shopify or a BigCommerce, then Wix is really the best place to look. And you have an unlimited free store, at least as far as getting your website set up. People can access your website. You could do some marketing with that and at least get people, you could tease a little bit if you're setting up your website. It's like, hey, coming soon, you know, or you're just setting up your brand. You can do all of that on Wix Ecommerce for free before you even start selling products. But if you do start selling products, then you do have to upgrade to one of their premium plans, which if we take a look at their pricing, it's not too bad. It does compete more with like a Shopify or a BigCommerce, but they do have their business basic to be able to accept online payments at that current pricing structure. Of course, depending on the time you're looking at this video, that pricing may change or fluctuate, but you do have to upgrade to a premium plan if you want to be able to accept payments. But you have that flexibility to be able to upgrade when you're ready. At least at the beginning, you have the ability to set up your website, set up your brand, set up some pages to be able to market your store, and before you're even ready to start selling products. And then you can, when you're ready to launch, then you can launch and take your time. So at least you have a free option to get started. Once you're ready to launch, then you have that more I would say advanced e-commerce options and more advanced flexibility that some of the other free and open source options that are mentioned in this video don't necessarily have the ability to make that jump and make that upgrade. So you have more scalability, I would say, with a Wix e-commerce, a lot more scalability options as you advance your small business. So that's something to keep in mind there. If you just want something, you know, to at least get you started, they do have a free option that you can set things up, and then when you're ready, then you can make that jump and have that scalability and room to grow. I would say Wix Ecommerce has the most room to grow as far as something with a free plan that then you do have to upgrade to paid plans later on. So moving into the next one, we have OpenCart. And OpenCart is really one of the most popular open source platforms, right up there with Magento and WooCommerce as far as open source. And of course, with open source, it's free as well. So OpenCart, a bit more technical. You might need some more coding knowledge to get set up with, but they do have a pretty solid platform as far as how easy it is to get started. And like I said before, open source, it's transparent, free downloads and updates, no monthly fees. So you have everything as far as the store management, different extensions and themes, and support from the community. So I would say OpenCart's really one of the most popular open source platforms, right up there with Magento, right up there with WooCommerce, and it's just another good option for that open source person who wants to have more flexibility. You don't want to have to pay any monthly fees, but you do have to do the hosting side of things and manage that. So that is something else to consider, but it is very flexible and quite scalable as well as you're advancing. So OpenCart, another good solution there. Moving to the next one, we have Prestashop. And Prestashop, I have mentioned before in other videos, same with OpenCart, is that Prestashop is a good setup for small businesses, maybe startups who want to get started with e-commerce. And it's a good option to launch an online store. So really just hitting another one here. You can customize Prestashop. You can set up your business and sell I would say they're really good for startups as well, as far as how the whole plugin system works there and the contributions in the community. They are also open source as well, so really sticking to that open source here, so you can get set up with Prestashop as far as how it's open source, and you have that flexibility there with Prestashop. Lots of different merchants utilize them as well, and with the open source side of things, you do have more collaborations and flexibility. So you can create a store with Prestashop, and I like their little logo. It's kind of cool, pretty neat. So Prestashop, another good option there, but it is a bit more, maybe a little bit more technical, kind of similar, I would say, to an OpenCart. But Prestashop has some nice templates and modules and designs and add-ons that you could utilize and develop your store. Lots of different store examples and demos that you can take a look at. So I would definitely take a gander and take a look at Prestashop. They are another good option, and they are open source. So moving into the next one, we have Big Cartel. And Big Cartel is really the best for someone who just wants to keep things simple. Maybe you're selling art, maybe you're selling something creative, you just want something simple. Big Cartel is probably the most simple out of any of the different e-commerce platforms I mentioned in this video. They really just keep things to the bare minimum. And, you know, for those of you who just want something very simple, Big Cartel is awesome to be able to at least throw your products up there and be able to start selling. Now, there are some limitations as far as their pricing structures and what they have. So on their free plan, you can only sell 5 products, which, you know, 1 image per product. Like I said, you can offer discounts and use a custom domain, different stats, sell online in person, free customizable themes. But realistically, with 5 products, a Big Cartel is a very simple option. But if you just want to keep things simple, maybe you're selling some custom art and you just want something free to be able to throw that art up there online to be able to sell it, then Big Cartel is excellent for that, and they are free. Now, they are later in this video just because they are so bare bones, and if you want to upgrade to their other plans, I still feel like there may be better options out there if you're going to upgrade to their paid plans in the future, but they do have a free option that is pretty solid. If you just want to keep things to the bare minimum, very basic and very simple, then Big Cartel, definitely recommend checking them out. It's super, super easy to use because it's so simple. So yeah, 5 products is kind of a limit there, but if you're not selling that much, then, you know, as an independent business, that's really what they're designed for here. You know, no hidden fees. They're very transparent, I would say, and very good for artists and people who make products maybe like that, and you just want to keep things on your own little pocket of the internet. So that's a good option for you to check out at Big Cartel. Moving into the last one in today's video, we have Weebly. Weebly is an OG. They have been around the block for a long time, and I had to throw them in this video because they do allow you to actually create your website for free, and they are now owned by Square. So they do have e-commerce by Square because they have that flexibility there. As far as the ownership goes, not 100% on how that exactly works, but the e-commerce by Square, they do have that integration there. So with Weebly, you can connect there with the Weebly and Square, because as you can see, Weebly is now part of the Square product suite. So they're part of their product suite, so that's why I figured I'd include them here. They do allow you to create a free platform, and they've been really one of the first platforms to ever even offer that back in the day. So Weebly had to make it into this list if you want to set up a pop-up shop, online store. They also take care of the payments. So as you could see, they are in that Square product suite. So they're owned by Square, so you can judge that, you know, you can get things set up easily. Maybe if you don't have the brick and mortar side of things, then Weebly might be good for you. Maybe if you're just looking to set up the website, then Weebly is a good option. Or if you are already set up with the brick and mortar, then maybe you just go back to Square instead and set up things with Square. But with Weebly, it's pretty much the same setup there as far as the flexibility and getting set up. but you may run into some of the same problems that each of them have as far as the scalability factors, and it's a little bit more bare bones compared to some of the other advanced open source options that we mentioned in this video. So it's just something else to consider, but they are in their software suite and in their product suite. So because it's with Square, got to mention Weebly, and they do allow you to actually sell products online for free. So it's another good option there, and it's pretty clean, pretty simple. So definitely recommend Weebly, definitely check them out. But anyway, guys, that is all for today's video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and the notification bell as well so you get notified whenever I upload a new video. But anyway, guys, that is all for today's video. So I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.